federal judge just issued a blistering decision against the immigration policies of the Trump administration, calling out the Trump administration by saying that we are indeed in the middle of a constitutional crisis. But what's really interesting is that that federal judge was appointed by Donald Trump. Let's discuss. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, former state attorney for Palm Beach County, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman here on Substack. Thanks for your support. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. It's still free. We are going to be adding a new paid option and with some new features, but there'll always be free videos on this site. So thanks again for your support. Leave a comment below, share with a friend. Let's talk about this Trump-appointed judge. Her name is Nancy Brasel, B-R-A-S-E-L. Apologies if I mispronounced her name. She issued an opinion that found that ICE is violating the constitutional rights of immigration detainees held in Minnesota's Whipple Federal Building. And she issued a temporary restraining order telling the government to stop it now. And what's really interesting is this judge was appointed by President Trump. According to her opinion, the Constitution does not permit the government to arrest thousands of individuals and then disregard their constitutional rights because it would be too challenging to honor those rights. According to the Above the Law website, the plaintiffs, non-citizen detainees, and a nonprofit that represents non-citizens didn't come to court with vibes or hypotheticals. They came armed with detailed, specific, and damning evidence. ICE, meanwhile, showed up with what Brasel described as threadbare declarations, vaguely insisting that everything is totally fine despite the hard evidence presented by plaintiffs. Quote, the gulf between the parties' evidence is simply too wide and too deep for defendants to overcome, Brasel wrote. Yikes. And in her opinion, she mandates that detainees be given access to in-person visits with their lawyers 7 days a week, along with free, private, and unmonitored telephone calls to their lawyers and family members within an hour of detention before any out-of-state transfer. Okay, that is where the judiciary continues to push back. And it is a core tenet of this Substack that the judicial branch has served as an effective guardrail during these very difficult times when our democracy is under threat. The legislative branch, Congress, for the first time in history, has emasculated itself, giving all its power to the executive branch, which means that it's up to the judiciary. And I know what you're thinking. The Supreme Court has been unhelpful in this area. Yeah, they've not been great at all. They gave the president unprecedented immunity. They also have been dragging their feet when they need to repudiate the president. They have issued quick rulings when it helps him. I mean, this Supreme Court under Chief Justice John Roberts has not won the respect, the appreciation, the admiration of the public for good reason. And Roberts cares deeply what the public thinks about the court, but you can understand why so many of the public think the court is nothing more than a political institution who is afraid to stand up to Donald Trump. And here's another part. This comes from page 34. It appears that in planning for Operation Metro Surge, the government failed to plan for the constitutional rights of its civil detainees. The government suggests, with minimal explanation and even less evidence, that doing so would result in chaos. And then the judge just totally rejected that. Said that the Constitution is what it is, and you just can't get around it by saying it's inconvenient or it just would bring too much disorder. No, we don't live in an authoritarian government yet, at least. We still have a democracy, if we can save it. And it's up to all of us, including Trump-appointed judges, to do our part. And this judge did. And if you're wondering who exactly this judge is, she is a judge appointed by Donald Trump in 2018. It was in the first administration. Because back then, he was appointing judges who he thought were conservative and who the Federalist Society liked, but didn't necessarily need to be loyal to him at all times. Now, he's appointing many fewer judges because he wants loyalty, like Emile Beauvais, his number 3 person at the DOJ, who's now on an important federal appellate court. But judges like this, who may be conservative but actually are faithful to the Constitution and not one man, they're still out there, and they're still helping us preserve the rule of law. And that's the latest here on Substack. I'm Dave Ehrenberg, a.k.a. the Florida Lawman. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, share with a friend, leave a comment below. Keep watching, hit subscribe, share with a friend, and I'll see you next time.